Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marvel Plus podcast, the show where we talk the Marvel shows on Disney Plus and how they connect to the MCU. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat over there. If you're a subscriber over there, we'd love to have you in on all the fun theory talk and episode talk. But if you can't catch it live, that's a-okay. It's posted the very next day over on YouTube at 12 noon Eastern, so you can check it out over there. Give it a watch, give it a listen. It would be greatly appreciated. So yes, today we are talking What If Episode 7, What If Thor Was an Only Child? Okay. Another interesting episode. I'll put that. That's the word I'll use for today. I know we've kind of talked about this series, obviously, for 6 episodes now. And this series is definitely not what I expected going into it or what I was kind of hoping for. I think this is another low point episode for me, unfortunately. And I think it also might be because of how I'm viewing things or maybe the expectations I have going into it. And I think I need to be better about maybe taking myself out of that situation of like thinking like a normal, not normal, but the remainder of the MCU, how like the movies have been, how the other series have been, like semi-serious, like the action-orientated stuff. I think I need to kind of go about and view this in a different light of like, let's just watch this to have fun and kind of turn my brain off a little bit more. Moose, can you please and kind of view it in that way, because I think viewing this episode in a different light of like, this is just going to be more of a comedy aspect route, I think I might have gotten more out of it. But fortunately I did not watch it that way, and kind of leaves me feeling afterwards. But let's get right into it. Let's get into how this episode plays out. So we're going to open with Jane and Darcy kind of doing their studies about the anomalies in space that they've noticed, and we are going to see that the Bifrost is going to shoot across the sky and land over in Vegas, which will have Thor, the Warriors 3, and Lady Sif all appearing in Vegas to start a big party. All right. So the reason this scenario is happening, like I said, Thor is an only child in this situation. The reason this is, in this universe, Odin, upon finding Loki, actually returned him to his kin, to the Frost Giants, and gave him up there, didn't adopt him as his own, led to a good relationship between them and the Frost Giants. Awesome, cool. So we have that happening. Odin is going into his Odin sleep to try and restore his power and rest, and Frigga is going to party with some friends for the solstice. So pretty much we get a Thor Home Alone situation here, and the man's just gonna go party on Earth with all of his friends. I guess he is a party animal now without Loki there. He obviously grew up differently. Now, I don't know if Hela comes into this situation. I know obviously we meet her, the sister, in Thor Ragnarok, but I'm not sure what the history is there. I don't remember 100%. It's been a while since I watched Ragnarok. If they ever talk about like Hela was always locked up or kind of out of the picture when they were kids and she wasn't around, I guess so. That would make sense, because Hela was a big surprise to Loki and Thor when she did show up in Ragnarok. So I guess I answered my own question. So I guess the only child situation mainly pertains to Loki, but I guess she can be taken out of the picture as well. So yeah, he's going to go party on Earth. Whoopee. Brings a bunch of people with him. And this episode is like cameo central. So we have Asgardians, we have the Executioner, we have Skrulls, we have Howard the Duck, we have Jeff Goldblum's character from Ragnarok, who I don't remember the name of. Later on, we're going to have Nebula, we're going to have Korg, we're going to have Drax, we're going to have Valkyrie. Let's see who else. We got Rumlow showing up, but that's in a different capacity, so I won't talk about that one. Who else is at this party? I think we see Mantis at one point later on. Yondu's there. Surtur's gonna show up. We have the gold people from Thor Ragnarok there as well. So it's a big-ass party. Big-ass party. A lot of people there. A lot of small cameos that we'll kind of see here and there. So everybody's showing up to this party, and they're having a good time. And it seems like everybody's getting along. So I guess that is one thing maybe in this universe is like all these different species get along with one another, and there hasn't been the war and turmoil. Wow, words are hard. That we have seen, in at least the current MCU that we know, or the canon, whatever you want to talk about, the films and the shows. So we're partying. Jane and Darcy finally show up. They're like, oh, hey. And Jane's all smitten with Thor because of how he looks. No surprise there. And she asks him about a dying star that I guess her and Darcy were studying, and asks if Thor had something to do with that. He says yes. Apparently they partied on that star, and apparently that star died and something happened. So, problems. Meanwhile, Howard the Duck is going to meet up with them, and him and Darcy are going to split off to have some fun themselves. So we're going to go a whole montage with a bunch of those cameos I mentioned. Darcy and Howard the Duck are going to get married and elope. Thor and Jane are going to have matching tattoos of magic and science. It's essentially The Hangover. All right, fine, whatever. So after the following day, party one, day one is over. We're going to get Rumlow and Maria Hill showing up at the door. Jane had called in the event of the original Bifrost showing, trying to get help there, at least warn people. Didn't work out. S.H.I.E.L.D. picked up on it, so they're reporting in on this incident. And apparently Maria is the acting director of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. We get a little cutaway showing Fury trying to attend the party. He unfortunately gets knocked unconscious by Korg running into the pool or something like that, so he's out. We'll see Coulson show up as well. And we learn that there are parties happening all over Earth. We have parties in Vegas, we have parties in America, the UK, all over. The next big one is going to be in Paris. Okay, so we got Thor a little bit narrowed down. How are we going to stop him? And we're going to the last resort. Last resort is Captain Marvel's beeper. So, boop, we're going to call her in to try and save the day because it's an alien invasion of Earth, which, I mean, technically it is, just not as, not the hostility I think everybody was expecting for when that would happen. So yeah, now we're in Paris, we're on to the next part of the party, and holy shit, we get another big cameo and appearance. We have Loki finally arrive, and he's with the Frost Giants, and he's huge as fuck and jacked. All Frost Gianted out. Why does he look different in this universe compared to, the MCU canon? I thought he was a dwarf giant or like a smaller giant. I don't know. He looks fine here. Or at least, fine for the Frost Giant standards. But him and Thor are buddies. They're all cool. And, shows up. Now he's there. They chit-chat. And we see a shooting star in the background. And they're all like, oh my god, shooting star, make a wish, bro. No, you, bro, blah, 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 bro. And shooting star turns out to be Captain Marvel. Shows up. Tries to shut the party down. Now we get Thor and Captain Marvel fighting. So they're going to punch each other a crazy amount of distance. One of them's going to get punched from France to Stonehenge, then from Stonehenge to like the Americas. They're going to fight in a thunderstorm, and then they're going to fight all around the world to the globe back to Paris. Okay, so they're punching each other. Doesn't really do a whole lot, unfortunately, to stopping Thor, obviously with Mjolnir, being able to keep Captain Marvel down. He stops her, and Marvel's not happy about that, so she's going to go away and report back to S.H.I.E.L.D. and to Maria Hill. So we cut back to the S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier. Maria's not super happy of Captain Marvel's performance, because Fury has obviously talked very highly of her, and her abilities, so not super happy. Darcy is excited to learn more about Captain Marvel and how she had a cat. She clings onto that. And while this is going on, Thor is going to call Jane, kind of follow up like, hey, let's meet up again, blah, blah, blah. How Thor got a cell phone, I'll never know, but I guess that's not important. So while this phone call is going on, Jane will come back, and the rest of the group has been talking of like, okay, how do we get rid of Thor, remove him from this situation? Essentially, they're going to, I think it sounds like they're going to take him to the Mojave Desert, and they're going to get rid of him. So bye-bye to Thor. Jane's not super happy about it, says we should handle it a different way. Shield's like, you know what, we're done with you, peace out, and drops her and Darcy back off in Vegas. So she's out of the situation. So we're back in Vegas. Loki is going to call Jane via Thor's phone and pretty much ask for a double date situation. That's not going to happen. Accidentally, he drops the phone because he's a giant. It drops from such a high distance that it breaks the phone. Oopsie. But this is going to stir an idea in Darcy of, like, how do we stop this without obviously blowing up Thor or destroying him as they planned to do originally. And essentially it's going to be like, why don't we tattle on him? Let's call his mom to stop the party. Okay. I mean, makes sense. So that's the plan, is they're going to try and contact Heimdall, contact Frigga to stop the party. S.H.I.E.L.D. is going through with their plan. Captain Marvel's going to intercept Thor. I think they were in Australia for the next party. Intercepts Thor, brings him over to some secluded area. Wasn't a desert, so I don't know why that was name dropped. And the plan is essentially to nuke Thor to remove him. Now, Captain Marvel doesn't know about this. She just thinks we're going to, beat the shit out of him and fight him. But Maria and Rumlow have different plans. Okay, swell, great. While this is going on and they're fighting, with the help of Selvig, Jane and Darcy are going to use the communication system to kind of call out to Heimdall to ask for his help. He does here, brings Jane through the Bifrost Bridge up to Asgard. She explains the situation. Bifrost's over to Frigga. She once again explains the situation. Meanwhile, all this is going on. The threat of nuclear disaster of pushing a button to launch the nukes is happening. Great. Just before the button is pressed, Frigga's going to show up via like a astral projection type thing and pretty much be like, Thor, what are you doing? Why are you causing all this trouble? I'm going to come and, you're in trouble, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. So, Mom's reporting in, no nukes are launched, and S.H.I.E.L.D's like, all right, problem solved, Mom's here to take care of the day. Great. Thor, in a panic, is now going to fly over to Australia again, calls off the party, and says, hey guys, we need to clean up. My mom's on her way. We're going to get in trouble. And everybody else is like, nah, that's not our problem, and they're starting to leave. Thor's going to get really angry. He's going to summon the power of Odin to essentially yell at them to help. Everybody's going to go on a big cleaning spree. We're going to see monuments get repaired. We're going to see power outages being solved and fixed. We're going to see things getting cleaned. Meanwhile, Frigga is taking the slowest Bifrost Bridge ever to return to Earth. Whatever. They clean it all up by the time Frigga arrives. Okay, cool. They're all in this little study group. That was his ploy, his excuse of why he was on Earth. Because that's what he's supposed to be doing while Odin is sleeping, is preparing to be king himself. But he wants to party instead. Learning his magic. So yeah, they got their little study group. Captain Marvel's going to swoop in and report in. Apparently Frigga knows Captain Marvel. So that's neat. So Thor has essentially fixed the problem. Until he calls Mjolnir, which is all dirty and partied up, and he gets caught. Okay. And then we get probably the most exciting part of this episode. He's going back to Asgard. He comes back. We report back in with Jane and Darcy, who are once again doing their research. Thor will arrive at their little RV thing, and he's asking out Jane on an official date. Cool. All right. They're moving forward with this, having that connection. Set a date. Thor's all happy. He turns around to leave, and he notices that there is this smoke cloud. A group is traveling in. It's like 6 deep or 6 across. And it's Ultron guards or Ultron drones. They're marching up and in. And we're going to pass a few rows of them, and we are going to see Ultron himself with the Infinity Stones. He's got 5 in his chest, in his armor set. And as we zoom in on his face, the face shield is going to come off, and it's going to turn out to be Vision in the Ultron suit. And obviously Vision has the final stone implanted in his face, or in his head. And we're going to go to credits there. So Ultron Vision? What the hell is going on? So we get once again another fucking cliffhanger for this situation. Cool as shit to see, but like, so many questions. Where did he show up? How is Vision around now? Why is he Ultron? Why did he look like Galactus for a second when the face shield dropped? Like, so many questions. I want to see how this plays out, especially because Thor's the only one there. I guess Captain Marvel's technically there. Where's this end in the timeline? Like, is Iron Man even a thing? Is Captain America unfrozen? Obviously, this is still early on, I would think, Thor 1 timeline. So, like, you don't have all the other heroes. How are they even going to deal with this problem? And how much shit is Ultron Vision going to wreck? Will we get a follow-up? I don't fucking know. No one's going to know until season 2 if that's just more what-if scenarios or if these are follow-ups to all these unfinished stories or little teases we're getting at the end of these. I have no idea. Like I said, my best guess is 1-to-1. It will be season 1, episode 1 is followed up in season 2, episode 1. That would probably be the best way to do it, other than obviously completing these stories in the seasons they're released. But I just had a very scary thought in my head. Very scary thought. Don't do like a super episode finale where every finish is like compacted in that like hour episode. Oh God, don't do that. Please don't do that. That would be disgusting. I doubt it, but that would be oof. So yeah, this episode was I know I went through this very fast, looking even at recording time. I'm like, ew. This episode, yeah, it was something. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, maybe I would have got more out of it if I can kind of turn off my brain and view it from a different viewpoint. I mean, because when I'm watching these, like, I don't know if you guys know at this point, but I take notes during these episodes so I can make sure I know, like, what were the basic story points? Hopefully I don't miss anything. And what are my immediate thoughts about certain things that do occur, or my thought process? Because I think that's kind of fun for you guys to hear, like, oh, I thought it was this, but actually it was this thing, weaving the web, or whatever it is. So, like, maybe it's just that split focus, or like really like determined, like, I'm here to pay attention to this and type down all the little nitty gritty things. I don't know. Maybe with a second viewing, turning off the brain or turning off that expectation, maybe it would have been a better episode and more fun, because I'm sure, like, you know, they tried to be funny and comedic with it. I'm sure it had that value, but I wasn't looking at it like that, so maybe I didn't get the most out of it. But yeah, I don't know, not for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. If not, that's okay. Let me know down in the comment section down below what you did think of the episode. I think we got 2 more of these to go for What If before we take our break, and then we have Hawkeye starting up on November 24th. So maybe that'll pick the ball back up once again. We'll have to see. This has been another episode of the Marvel Plus Podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. You can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. Usually at 8 p.m. Eastern every night. There is going to be a slight change for a little bit, maybe permanent. We'll see. It's going to be a kind of trial and error thing. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern, so an hour earlier over on Twitch still. You can check it out live over there if you'd like to. If you're a subscriber, we can have you in here talking all the theories and all the fun thoughts of the episode if you'd like. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. It's going to be released the very next day at 12 noon Eastern over on YouTube. Just search Enigma9011 and you can check it out over there. I appreciate you guys giving this a watch, giving this a listen today. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. If not, I mean, Hawkeye's coming up. Hopefully that gets us back all on the train. But, you know, it is what it is. We're not going to connect with everything, and that's okay. And it's a little low. That's okay. That's all right. But thanks again for watching. Thanks for giving this a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.